A 7.0 magnitude earthquake has struck the Pacific coast of Central America. The U.S. Geological Survey said the quake occurred around 120 kilometers off El Salvador at a depth.
The ground beneath our feet is never truly still. But in El Salvador, it's a constant reminder of the power of nature. The Pacific Ocean hugs the country in a calm embrace, yet the ground moves with such force that it feels like a dance. The Gulf of Fonseca echoes with the earth shaking, waking the area to the raw energy beneath. As the people pour into the streets, the question on everyone's mind is whether this will be the earthquake that changes everything once again. Join us as we discuss the massive earthquakes that shocked El Salvador. Recent quakes. On July 18, 2023, an earthquake happened in the Pacific Ocean near El Salvador. This earthquake sent shockwaves through Central America, from Nicaragua to Guatemala. The center of this event was 43 kilometers south of Intipuca in El Salvador. With a magnitude of 6.5, the earthquake started about 70 kilometers under the ocean. People were worried that it might cause many problems, but according to the USGS, there were no immediate signs of damage. The Environment Ministry confirmed on the radio that there was no need to worry about a tsunami in El Salvador. People all over the country were worried and waiting to hear what happened. Luckily, there were no immediate reports of people getting hurt. At El Salvador's government meeting, there was a lockdown, but locals went back to work soon after. Nicaragua, the capital, and the Pacific coast felt the tremors too. The vice president of Nicaragua, Rosario Murillo, said no one was hurt then. El Salvador is a place where it is often affected by natural events like earthquakes and landslides. Families living in risky areas, dealing with poverty, and not very strong against problems, are in a tough situation. El Salvador has a history of many small earthquakes and some really big ones, over 6.0 on the Richter scale. As of July 19th, the news says there are no reports of people getting hurt or any damage. El Salvador's Environment Ministry also says no damage happened and there's no tsunami risk. After the earthquake, the government might stop some transportation to check for damage. If everything is okay, services will go back to normal quickly. There might be problems with electricity and other services, especially near where the earthquake happened, but there's no danger of a tsunami. Even though people are being told not to worry, more than 130 homes were affected by the earthquake, and more than 10 people had to find safety in shelters. The government says there were 219 earthquakes in 24 hours, and they caused problems like damage to homes and landslides. A red alert is given for some towns near where the earthquake happened. The government is looking at what happened and trying to help people. People working for the government clean up after the earthquake and make places to stay safe. This earthquake didn't take lives like the 1986 earthquake, but it greatly impacted the homes and lives of the people who felt it. 1986, San Salvador earthquake. On the scary morning of October 10, 1986, exactly at 11:49:26 local time, the ground beneath San Salvador shook with a big earthquake. The 1986 earthquake, with a size of 5.7 and a strong intensity of IX, which means violent on the Mercalli scale, sent its tremors across El Salvador, reaching neighboring Honduras and Guatemala. This big earthquake happened in the upper layer of the Caribbean plate, following the line of volcanoes in Central America. It occurred because the ground moved sideways in a way called left lateral strike slip faulting. The tremors moved perpendicularly to the volcanic chain, leaving a clear mark on the landscape. This geological unrest caused landslides, worsening the damage in the San Salvador area. The impact of the 1986 earthquake was severe. It caused the loss of 1,000 to 1,500 lives, with 10,000 people getting hurt and a huge number, 200,000, becoming homeless. The destruction was mainly in San Salvador, where the ground shaking under the city broke many buildings, including the Children's Hospital, a busy marketplace, numerous restaurants, and shanty towns. In response, President José Napoleón Duarte set up the Earthquake Reconstruction Committee. This group had the tough job of fixing things and making the capital city, San Salvador, more modern. Duarte chose noted international urban planner and architect Jesus Permuy to lead the committee. After the Reconstruction Committee concluded, Duarte also asked to stay another year to train Salvadoran officials on modern urban planning methods and principles. The San Salvador earthquake of October 10, 1986, started along the Central American volcanic chain within the upper crust of the Caribbean plate. The results of a local seismograph network show a tectonic-style main shock-aftershock sequence with a magnitude of 5.6. The center was located 7.3 kilometers below the south edge of San Salvador. The main shock ruptured along a nearly vertical plane toward the north-northeast. A main shock fault plane solution shows a nearly vertical fault plane striking N32ZCE with a left lateral sense of motion. This is the second Central American volcanic chain earthquake documented with a left lateral slip on a fault perpendicular to the volcanic chain. During the 2.5 years before the earthquake, minor microseismicity was noted near the center, but we show that this has been common along the volcanic chain since at least 1953. San Salvador was previously damaged by a volcanic chain earthquake on May 3, 1965. The locations of 6 foreshocks before the 1965 earthquake show a WNW trending distribution. This observation, the distribution of damage, and a fault plane solution suggest that a right lateral slip occurred along a fault parallel with the Central American volcanic chain. This is the first time such motion has been documented along the volcanic chain. This earthquake was also unusual because it was preceded by a foreshock sequence that was more energetic than the aftershock sequence. Earlier this century, on June 8, 1917, a 6.4 magnitude earthquake occurred 30 to 40 kilometers west of San Salvador volcano. Only 30 minutes later, another 6.3 magnitude earthquake occurred, centered at the volcano, and about 35 minutes later, the volcano erupted. In 1919, a 6.0 magnitude earthquake occurred, centered at about the center of the 1986 earthquake. January 2001, El Salvador earthquake. On January 13, 2001, El Salvador faced a big earthquake on a cold day at 17:33:34 UTC. The ground shook strongly, first measured at 7.6 magnitude, later debated as 7.7 or 7.9. The center of this shake was 60 miles southwest of San Miguel, deep down at 60 kilometers. In falling buildings and the earth's loud sounds, personal stories came out as strong echoes of the disaster. Maria Hernandez, living in Santa Tecla, shared her scary moments as her home fell apart. She says it felt like the world was ending, and all I could think about was my family. These personal stories became the threads of the human story of strength and tragedy. In the chaos, lives were changed by the earthquake. At least 944 people lost their lives, and 5,565 got hurt. The aftermath was a scene where homes fell apart. Another 169,692 showed signs of damage. Over 150,000 buildings stood as silent witnesses to nature's anger. A sad moment echoed in Santa Tecla and Comasagua, where landslides took 585 lives. After the disaster, the land showed signs of big changes shaped by nature's actions. Landslides, the hidden cause of destruction, created havoc, leaving a landscape marked and different. Experts predicted around 16,000 landslides, showing how unpredictable the aftermath of a disaster could be. From the center of El Salvador to Guatemala's edges, damage and injuries spread wide, affecting every area, with La Libertad and Usulután feeling the worst. The earthquake reached far, felt from Mexico City to Colombia. As things settled down, more earthquakes followed in the days. By February 2, 2001, more than 2,500 aftershocks had scared El Salvador, causing more damage to already scared people. The fear of disease grew as clean water and sanitation became hard to find after the earthquake, costing $7 million for the municipal drinking water systems. The earthquake on January 13th was because of the Earth's internal issues, with normal faulting in the subducting Cocos plate telling the seismic story. Like a sad replay, aftershocks followed, with 70 stronger than M4 and 10 stronger than M5, including a powerful M5.8 event at 12:20 on January 15th. Exactly a month later, a different fault line caused more destruction on the Caribbean plate, taking another 315 lives. Sitting above the spot where the Cocos Plate meets the Caribbean plate, El Salvador faced the results of a delicate tectonic dance, leaving the nation to deal with the aftermath. In the days and weeks after the earthquakes, local and foreign agencies worked to understand what happened, looking at the factors that led to the disasters. Government representatives, quick to compare to past earthquakes, faced criticism from outside researchers who looked at how ready the country was and the policies that allowed massive deforestation in the vulnerable Santa Tecla area. Mexican seismologists, invited to share their thoughts, described the challenges vividly. The Ministry of Public Works, stretched thin over earth slumps, struggled with big tasks. Homeless people, not seen much in San Salvador's streets, found shelter in temporary huts, while the capital showed a strong desire to forget the earthquake. However, the need for clear rules on where to build echoed loudly in the rush to forget. Developers at Las Colinas allowed to build despite the rules became a clear example. Safety from guerrilla operations had made the location appealing, but the aftermath showed the need to protect hillsides from future deforestation and development. After the disaster, as the country dealt with loss and rebuilding, the words of Sina Lomnitz and Sergio Rodriguez Elizarraras echoed. The 2001 earthquake did not reach the level of some past earthquakes, but it wiped out half the yearly national income. Investing a bit in getting ready would have paid off well. The government's actions were intensely viewed, facing criticism from different sides. The legislature's failure to approve the full emergency funds suggested by President Flores was condemned, and others blamed the government for its part in the destruction. In the search for understanding, the magazine Envio looked closely at the conservative government's pro-business choices, connecting them to aggressive land development and high poverty rates. They argued that what happened after the earthquake couldn't just be called a natural disaster, urging people not just to accept it as fate. The hope for economic recovery was called insulting, highlighting the need for responsibility beyond politics. The echoes of the earthquake on January 13, 2001 became more than a geological event. They became a part of El Salvador's memory, a detailed story of destruction, strength, and the continuous effort to learn from the heart of a disaster. Are you tired of constantly worrying about the safety of your phone during unpredictable weather conditions or natural disasters? Look no further than our tough phone cases. These cases are specifically designed to provide ultimate durability and peace of mind in even the toughest situations. Don't wait until it's too late to protect your phone. With the new year upon us, now is the perfect time to invest in the ultimate protection for your device. Our cases are available for purchase, and we are confident that you'll be satisfied with the level of protection they provide. Simply click on the link on your screen or the first link in the description. Simply click on the link provided in the description to place your order. Share your stories in the comments below and connect over shared experiences. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.